Tesla up 15% today, more than 15% today, more than 35% in the last week. This latest gain fueled by Elon Musk's surprise visit to China and a deal to get approval for full self-driving in that region. Eunice Yoon covering the China side of this story, LeBeau, on what it means for Tesla. Eunice, please give us a sense of what we know about this deal so far.
Well, Leslie, these are the three main takeaways so far. First, after Musk visited with the Chinese premier, Tesla flagged that Beijing deemed it compliant with the country's new data security regulations. This, as a result, the statement said that local governments that had restricted where Tesla cars were allowed to go are lifting those restrictions. Second, official media Cai Lian said that its reporter confirmed with China Tesla that its full self-driving software could be launched in China in what they said as, quote, soon. And finally, a source close to the matter told CNBC that Baidu, the tech giant here, would partner with Tesla on lane-level navigation and mapping services. Now, we're still waiting, though, to see whether or not reports that Musk is looking to get approval for the data to be transferred to overseas. We're still waiting to see whether or not those reports become confirmed.
All right, thank you very much, Eunice. Eunice Yoon reporting for us from Beijing. Let's turn now to Phil LeBeau. Phil, how important is full self-driving to the future of Tesla, not just in China, but in the United States and globally?
It's huge, Tyler, because the holy grail within the auto industry has long been monthly subscription, that revenue that you can bring in every month. It's not just the one-time sale of the vehicle. It's how much you can get people to pay you month after month after month for a particular service. And full self-driving has huge potential in that area. When you look at full self-driving, even though the price has come down considerably from where it was a year or two ago, right now, and we're just looking at the U.S. price here, you can buy it in full for $8,000, or you can do a monthly subscription of $99 a month, but the take rate is unclear. There have been some like Ben Callow at Baird who has said, look, I think it's about 10% of the Tesla customers who actually buy full self-driving technology or do the subscription, but we've never seen any kind of disclosure from Tesla. Full self-driving has been bought, according to the company, and this was in a regulatory filing earlier this year, by approximately 400,000 Tesla owners. Now, that's all time. We don't know how many of those people bought it, then said, I don't want it anymore. Then they sold their vehicle or their monthly subscribers. That kind of granularity is not clear, so we don't know what type of revenue Tesla gets from its full self-driving software. But Elon Musk said on the conference call last week when they had their quarterly results, he believes that the growth potential when it comes for full self-driving, it can grow overseas. And yes, there are markets in Europe that have full self-driving technology, but he believes it can grow rapidly in other markets. And obviously, China would be a huge market to do that. Keep in mind, this is separate. Full self-driving is separate from the robotaxi discussion. Plays a role in it, obviously, because if you can develop truly autonomous driving technology, playing off the full self-driving technology, well, then you'd have the robotaxi, and they've said they were going to be unveiling that on August 8th, but no other details in terms of what does that mean when they say they're going to be unveiling it. And guys, I can't stress this enough. Even though the name is full self-driving, it is not autonomous. It is driver assist technology. There are a lot of people who sit there and say, well, I never have to put my hands on the wheel with full self-driving. That's not true. So it's impressive. When you've been in a car that has it, it is impressive, but it is not fully autonomous.
It is impressive. As I've said on this broadcast many a time, I own one. I signed up for the subscription because I wanted to try it out. It is impressive. How many people will take it up, I don't know. But how much better it gets is really the key here, because it is good, it is impressive, and it is not perfect. Phil, let me leave you for just a minute and go back to Eunice, if I might. Eunice, I believe at the top of your report, you said that one of the things that was cleared away between this meeting between Mr. Musk and the Chinese premier was the idea that now Teslas have no restrictions on where they can go in China. Did I hear you correctly? And where could they not go if I did hear you correctly?
Well, yeah, no, that was an interesting admission by Tesla, because there have been several unofficial reports that Tesla cars were not allowed to go around certain sensitive areas that were usually government related. So that wasn't explicitly said in the notice, but I think it highlights some of the challenges that both the Chinese and the Americans face about each other's cars, and concerns about privacy for a lot of that data.
Phil makes a very good point. This is not complete autonomous driving, this full service, full self-drive option. You have to still keep your hands in contact with or proximity to the steering wheel. But in congested areas, like many cities in China, where street markings and lights and signage maybe aren't at Western standards, this could be troublesome for these cars. No.
It could be troublesome, but because China is so focused on trying to become a leader in EVs, in autonomous driving, and in AI more generally, the feeling is that they might not necessarily look so heavily scrutinize every little last thing that, say, Tesla does. So, from the Chinese perspective, Tesla and Elon Musk could really help them reach their longer-term goals. And their longer-term goals have been to become tech dominant players globally in a lot of those same technologies that he currently is leading in.
And to that point, Phil, is there a sense of any U.S. guardrails on this technology, wanting to keep it, at least kind of proprietary for a U.S. company to have and market from? I only ask because there have been instances in the past where other countries have sought to maybe kind of re-engineer the technology, with their own kind of companies that are based in those regions. Is there a sense that the U.S. is kind of clued into this and hoping to ring-fence this technology so that it's proprietary for?
Well, you can bet the U.S. is watching these developments very closely. Now, what are the details? What are the particulars of this agreement with China in terms of access to data and what Tesla is doing? That hasn't come out yet. So it's unclear at this point. But let's not fool anybody to think that the U.S. is not watching any of this in saying, oh, it's just Tesla doing business over there. They're watching all of this, as they are with any company over there, whether it's Apple, whether it's Tesla, whoever it is. You know that they are watching these developments closely.
And then in terms of just the stock price reaction today, Phil, obviously this comes on the heels of their earnings from, I believe it was last week, where just the prospect of kind of these newer technologies clearly got investors' attention. How do analysts kind of look at today's moves up 15% and think about how this will ultimately filter into their models and the revenue potential and all of that?
Look, most of the analyst notes today have been positive. From this perspective, this is an important moment for Tesla in the world's largest EV market. That cannot be disputed. And so you have analysts who are saying, look, this is fantastic. We're not sure exactly how much this is going to unlock in terms of revenue potential, but this is what you want. And it also is another example, playing off of last week's analyst call, where you have Elon Musk actively engaged in the next development with Tesla. Remember, that was some of the narrative as the stock was trending lower. People were saying, where is he? Is he fully engaged with this company, or is he busy doing myriad of other things? And now you've had two instances here, the analyst call as well as over the weekend with China, where it's very clear. He is focused on the growth and the development of Tesla. And that's why you see that I wouldn't call it positive as much as encouraging is the tone that we've heard from analysts when they've written about this today.
Yeah, certainly the momentum is there. Phil and Eunice, thank you both very much.